Okay, in this video, I'm talking about, as the title mentions, the 7 sharp 9 chord and what to play over it. I get this question a lot from students, and it was something that I had a hard time with for a really long time. There's some simple ways to go about it, and there's some mildly more complicated ways to go about it. I'm going to touch on a little bit of both of those. So before anything else, let's make sure we know what the 7 sharp 9 chord is. I'm going to use D7 sharp 9. This applies to any key. I'm just using D because it's in the center of our frame. So you have the notes D, F sharp, so major third, and then up a tritone to the flat 7, which is C. So far we have D, F sharp, and C, just like a D7 chord. But then we have this 9, which is the note E normally, but it's going to be a sharp 9, so it's actually E sharp or F. People like to call this the Hendrix chord. I doubt he's the guy that invented it. He did put it to good use, however. So this chord has something interesting about it, and that is, I mentioned it has a major third, and I mentioned that it had a sharp 9. A sharp 9 could also be called a minor third in terms of pitch. So you now have a chord that has a major third and a minor third. So it's a little bit of a walking dichotomy that way, and I think that's what confuses people as to what to play over top of it. So in the most very basic and simple way, minor pentatonic works perfectly fine from the root. So that would be D minor pentatonic. So anything that resembles and all your kind of blues licks that fit in there as well. So the minor pentatonic, also the minor pentatonic with an added note, which is a hexatonic scale known as the minor blues scale. So it has a flat 5 added to it. So now you have and that'll work also very well. What'll also work super nice. Oh, actually, I played a different scale there. I'm so sorry. That's what I meant to play. That'll work well. And then there's one more that's kind of, there's actually two more. One more that's an obvious one would be to play the Mixolydian mode and also have that sharp 9 sound in there. So now you have so Mixolydian, plain old straight D7. That'll work great too. And then you can get both the major third and the minor third in there. So, or so a lot of notes fit over top of it. Now, a specific character or characteristic, when speaking of it diatonically, excuse me, is to play a scale called the altered scale. Well, the altered scale is comprised of a bunch of altered pitches, as you might suspect. So let's use the D altered scale, since we're dealing with D7 flat 9 or D7 sharp 9. We use the D altered scale. So you have a 1, a flat 2, a flat 3, a natural 3. Okay, so you have a flat 5, sharp 5, a flat 7, and then you're back to the root. An easier way to look at it than all those crazy intervals is to start a melodic minor scale from the 7th degree. So my melodic minor scale is going to be E flat melodic minor. All that stuff works great. So that's just E flat melodic minor, and you could think about it that way, or you could, if you're trying to look at it from the root, it's E flat melodic minor, just starting on the note D. So you can start on D and end on D, and you can call that the D altered scale. And that works really well over top of that, or you could think of it like E flat melodic minor. So if you look at it that way, if your chord is D7 sharp 9, you go up a half step and play that play that melodic minor scale. That will work wonderfully. So those are a whole bunch of different things that you can use to play over top of it. Here's a kind of a neat trick that will get again a different sound. It'll have the same alterations and same intervals that we spoke of, but we go about getting to those in a different way. So if the chord is D7 sharp 9, once again, I said you could play D minor pentatonic. I still hold to that, that's fine. But if you take that same material and I just played and shifted up a minor third, so now you would be playing F minor pentatonic. It's a different sound then. I actually like it better. It's really, really cool sound, pretty hip sound. So there's some things that you can do to be able to play over a D7 sharp 9. And while we're at it, I have another chord that's kind of interesting and people ask me questions about all the time what to play over it. What happens when you have a major triad that has a sharp 5 or a dominant 7 sharp 5? That is known as augmented, and here's that sound. We'll do it in E flat so you can hear the contrast between the two. So there's E flat, which is part of our chord, G, which would be the major third, and instead of being a normal E flat triad, the 5 is sharped, raised up. And I have the root doubled up top, although you can do other things. I have the root doubled up top in this example. Well, the obvious notion that comes to mind is a scale called whole tone, which is made up of all whole steps. So if I start, the chord is E flat. If I start on E flat and I play all whole tones, there's my scale. Oops. Lots of neat things, you know. Let's see. It's really cool stuff that you can do over top of that. Those are patterns, obviously, right? I'm resolving it there, but that's your best bet. And that means also, if it's E flat whole tone, because of the symmetry of the scale, if it's E flat whole tone, it's also D flat whole tone and B whole tone. If you were to examine these, you'd realize that the pitch collection is the same for every one of these. So if I play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's a 6-tone scale, the whole tone scale, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. that means that you actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then it starts over. So if you look or examine those and move them around in seconds, meaning whole steps, you'll find that you come up with the same notes. So let's start on B. B, C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, F double sharp. Now you're going to go back, right? We have A there as well. Okay. So let's go somewhere completely different. Like let's start on F. F, G, A, B, C sharp, D sharp. Same notes we had here. F, C sharp, D sharp, G sharp. It all works out the same. So that whole tone scale can be moved around in seconds. And it's common that people will play lines that are sort of like that, you know, or maybe something like, here's off of E flat. All those kinds of things work. Or if you go, lots of really cool symmetrical things that can be done with that. But that'll all work really well over augmented. Or if the chord were like, this is just an augmented triad. But if you have 7 sharp 5, so again, so if I play G7 sharp 5 and I use E flat as my root or my tonic, it's a match made in heaven. So there's a lot of harmonic possibilities. And when you really begin to look deep in this, it's something you can, you know, spend a good amount of time on. When you start to look deeply within it, you really find lots of twists and turns that can make it really fun to have this kind of harmonic integrity under your belt, so to say. So hope that works out for y'all.